Alright, you guys said you wanted more stories, so here you go. Here's a story for you. And it's kind of one of them stories where you can tell me what you would do. I've heard people talk about it on different channels, and I guess everyone has a different policy. But you'll hear in this story what my policy is. So a couple years ago, I wanted to expand out further. This is when I still had employees, right? And I wanted to expand out further and go to another area that takes about 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes from my house. And it's a place up in my area. You can look at a map at Western New York and you'll see there's this island called Grand Island. Now there's a guy that watches some of my videos that's from Grand Island and does a lot of mowing and snow plowing there. And hold on, I have to order my food.
Good afternoon, how can I help you?
Have the classic chicken hoagie and a large double cup, please.
Anything else for today?
That's it.
Alright, that'll be $5.81.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's this island that's called Grand Island, right? And our main thruway, the I-190, runs right through it. It goes from Niagara Falls, you go through it, and then it puts you into like Tonawanda's, you know, an area what a lot of people consider the Buffalo area. So I wanted to expand into this area a little bit, and what I had heard from a number of people, I knew some people that lived on the island, and I knew other guys that did work on the island, and the general consensus of what I've gotten was there was a handful of lawn care companies on the island, but there were only two that were worth a damn. One does strictly landscaping, and the other one does, you know, maybe he does landscaping as well, but I know he does a lot of mowing, which I don't know the names of I know the name of the one company, the one that does just landscaping, and he does a lot in my area too, but he's a larger scale. And the other one that I know does mowing, from what everybody told me that lives on the island, he's the only good one. The rest of them are a bunch of hacks, and they destroy properties, and they're no good at what they do, and they just kind of get in and just do a crap job and get out of there and on to the next one. So from what I was hearing, you know, there's a lot of opportunity there. So this was back, like I said, when I had employees and I had tried the Every Door direct mailers. So I know the island pretty well, and it's pretty big. It's not like just a little island. It's pretty big in size. And so I targeted a bunch of neighborhoods. And what I did was, I had the Every Door direct mailers. If you know anything about them, you can send them to specific neighborhoods and decide, you know, what houses you want to hit or businesses or whatever, and you can target specific areas. That's the good thing about the Every Door direct mailer. So I had a bunch of my postcards made up through Vistaprint, and I went onto my account.
Right, $5.81.
There you go. Hold that thought. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And so I had Vistaprint make up a bunch of my postcards, and then I went on my account on the USPS, U.S. Postal Service website, and I brought up the map and I started picking my areas, where I wanted them to go and what I wanted to do. So I sent them out, and I only received 2 calls, okay? I sent out over 500 Every Door direct mailers. I think it was like 600, 650, something like that. I got 2 calls. One was a lady that apparently was a real estate agent, and the company, she mowed her own grass, but she had other companies do her bushes and her mulch in the past, and they just hacked it and destroyed everything, did a crap job, and she didn't like their service. So she hired me to do her landscaping in the spring. She wanted all her hedges trimmed, and she wanted new triple cut black mulch put down. So no problem. So I gave her a price. She liked my price, And I did a little bit lower than I would normally do. I still made good money off it, but I did it slightly lower than I would normally do because I wanted to get into these neighborhoods. So, you know, I wanted the word to pass, and I wanted, you know, to get the job so that my, you know, I had the other truck that looked like a billboard, and, you know, I had my trailers that looked like billboards. So I wanted my presence to be seen there. So I took the job on, and I cleaned out all her flower beds. She had a bunch of leaves and stuff there, which she didn't care that much about. She said, just, you know, clean them out a little bit. We cleaned them out perfectly. Like, there wasn't one single leaf left in her flower beds. We hand-picked half these leaves out. So we did that, and then trimmed all her bushes. You know, well, I trimmed all the bushes first, then I cleaned out the flower beds, re-edged all the flower beds, and I put down all the mulch. There ended up being a little spot by the sidewalk that she wanted the mulch, that she wanted a little extra mulch thrown in that spot, and we were out of mulch. I had run out of mulch, and I just enough to finish what I was supposed to do, and then there was a small little spot by the sidewalk. Now I'm talking, if you measured this, it was like 6 inches by 10 inches, this little tiny area. And I probably could have taken some handfuls out of another spot, but we had already laid it kind of thin throughout the other flower beds, because that was another thing. She didn't want it laid thick. She wanted it nice and thin, nice thin layer of it. So, you know, maybe I screwed up a little bit by not having enough, but I mean, I had enough to do the job, no problem, but there just wasn't any extra. So I had another mulch job to do the next day in my area, and I told her that I would run up there the following day or the day after, and I would, you know, throw some mulch down I would have leftover from that job into that area. And she said, okay, no problem. Well, she started blowing my phone up the next morning, and she wanted to know why I wasn't there first thing. And I told her, I said, well, listen, I explained this to you. I told you I would be there either some point today or tomorrow, and I would get it done. She goes, well, you know, I thought you'd have been here this morning, and, you know, I'm not going to pay you for the job until you come back. And it just turned into this whole fiasco. And so I ran right up there. I left my guys at the job, and I took a 5-gallon bucket full of mulch, and I ran up there, and I put the mulch in there, spread it out perfectly over this tiny little area, and it looked immaculate. It took me 3.5 weeks of constant calls, emails, everything else to get her to pay her bill, and then she tried telling me that she wanted a little bit of money off for the delay in finishing the job. It just turned out to be a pain in the ass. So I get the other call in the meantime, and it was just for lawn service. So, and it was in a pretty nice little neighborhood, and there was a lot of houses in there, and I thought, you know what, I did a little bit cheaper. Should have been like a $40 a week lawn. I did it for $30 a week because I wanted, you know, again, I wanted my presence to be seen there. I wanted, you know, the neighbors to look out the window and see what a nice job we were doing, see my name and phone number and everything real big on the truck and trailer, and I would get more business that way. And the way I figured it was for my drive there to get there, if I could get enough houses, I could spend one day on the island each day, or each week. I just dedicate one day to the island. It would be worth my time going there. Well, so I did this lawn. It should have been like $40 a week. Had a lot of flower beds. The backyard had to have over $30,000 worth of landscaping done. If there was just a pond, there were 2 waterfalls in a pond. I mean, it was flower beds everywhere, trees, plants. I mean, it was nice. It was really nice. Well, it had to be bagged every week. And I told the guy when I first went there to look at the property, I heard the dog barking inside. And anytime I go look at a new property and I hear a dog, or I ask them, I always ask if I don't hear or see a dog. I say, do you have a dog? And if they say yes, I say, listen, I keep you on the same day every single week through the whole season. Unless it rains on your day, then I guarantee to service your property within 48 hours after the rain stops. That's my policy. Always has been. And I tell them, like, I do that so that you can plan your special events around me. You know when I'll be there. It's reliable service, the same day every week. And if you have a dog, you can make sure the dog poop is picked up. You know, my mowers are $10,000 to $13,000 a mower, and I don't want to go tracking through dog crap and have it all over my mowers, and then I take it to the next lawn where somebody may not have a dog, and I end up spreading it through their lawn, or it gets on their driveway, sidewalks, whatever, from my tires. You know, and in my mind, that's just like somebody taking dog crap and smearing it on your car. You know what I mean? It means the same to me. So I have a very strict policy about them. He goes, oh yeah, no problem, no problem. Well, I mowed it for like 3 weeks, and I kept telling the guy, I'm like, listen, there's dog crap all over your backyard. I'm talking 10 to 15 piles a week. And there's no way it was just there once, you know what I mean? Or, oh, I didn't get to get out and pick it up today. It was, you know, the guy never picks it up. That's the problem. And I couldn't believe he'd spend that much money on all the landscaping, but never pick up his dog crap. So, you know, finally after I'd mowed for 3 weeks, and then I mowed the 4th week, and I sent him his sent him his invoice, and on the invoice I said, listen, you know, I've dealt with this, I explained to you my policy, this is why my policy is what it is, you know, you got to get it picked up if you want me to continue service. So he calls me up and he starts yelling at me and says, for what I pay you, you should mow through anything. That shouldn't be a problem. This shouldn't be an issue. You should just go ahead and do it. And I explained to him, like, listen, normally I would charge about $40 a week for a lawn like yours, with all the trimming, all the flower beds. The fact that it has to be bagged every week, he has it fertilized, it grows like crazy, plus all the flower beds, you'd just be blowing grass everywhere. And he didn't want to hear that. He didn't want to hear nothing about it. He insisted that for what he pays me, he thought he was paying me a premium. And for what he pays me, I should just deal with it. I should just put up with it, and I should just deal with it. Well, I wasn't having it, so I told him, I said, well, thank you for the work you've provided me. I really appreciate it. And I said, here's your final invoice. And he never paid it. Big surprise. So that was the end of that. And I never got another call for Grand Island to do any work up there at all. I went up there and did a huge fall cleanup, and then a spring cleanup and a landscape job the following spring, and that was for a buddy of mine that lives here. He works for the highway department here. His sister lives there, and the people she had before just destroyed her property, so he paid me to go and fix everything and to do it right. And so, you know, I done theirs, and then she ended up selling the house, so I haven't been back up there. So other than that, I've never done any work on that island again. That turned out to be a flop. Didn't work out in my favor at all, and it's a shame. There's some beautiful yards, beautiful properties there, and there's definitely money on that island, but apparently they're happy with the hacks they have there. And like I said, there's 1 or 2 companies I heard of that do a phenomenal job, and they must be the guys that are doing most of the work up there, because from what I hear, everybody else is a hack and that's doing work in that area. So, you know, I thought it was a gold mine. I thought it was a good opportunity. Didn't work out in my favor, and the dog poop was definitely an issue there. So that's my story, and I have plenty more. You guys said you wanted to hear them, so I will randomly be posting stories, and that's my story for today.